So the next one we got, next job it does, is proteins are responsible for moving nutrients through your body, specifically, or I guess maybe not most importantly, but importantly, one of the nutrients they move through your body is oxygen, and that's taken care of in your red blood cells with hemoglobin. So it moves nutrients through your body, and it's really kind of a crazy job if you think about it, because it recognizes when it gets to your lungs that it's supposed to grab onto oxygen, and then when it gets to other places in your body, it recognizes it's supposed to release oxygen. So it's a protein that kind of, it's got a brain. It can think. It can process these things.
What's this program?
Yeah, it knows. I mean, there's other chemicals there that tell it. Support things in our body from fibrin, which is what causes... You know how some people... I always get this messed up. I always get it backwards. There's hemophiliacs and there's hypochondriacs. Which ones are the ones that don't stop bleeding? Thank you. So hemophiliacs lack a protein in their blood that is what prevents you from not bleeding. When your blood gets exposed to the air, the blood cells basically emit like a microscopic spider web, and the gaps in the spider web are so small that other blood cells can't fit through it. And what happens is you get a cut, those things start emitting the spider web, it catches the other blood cells, and eventually you stop bleeding and it forms a scab. If you're missing that protein, when you get cut and your blood cells touch the air, they don't release that spider web and you just continue to bleed. You don't stop. Your body can't do it. And that's true of like the English royal family. They are hemophiliacs as a result of inbreeding. So from the stuff that gets you to stop bleeding, which is called clotting factor, all the way to like the bones in our bodies and the tendons and ligaments, all those things are composed of proteins. Different proteins produce different results. You've seen people like maybe take the same kind of impact. For one person it blows out their knee, and for another person it doesn't. You can see it with football players. Sometimes people come out of college and they're going to be the next best thing and they're injured all the time. They've got like different proteins in there that make their bones or muscles or ligaments a little bit weaker. It happens in basketball. Greg Oden for the Trailblazers came out and he was going to be the greatest center ever, and then like his cartilage in his knees just couldn't hold up. He didn't have the right stuff in there to make his cartilage work like it was supposed to. Yeah. It could be, yeah. They've got some kind of genetic issue in there with it. But yeah. So I think there's just 2 or 3 more here. Motion, you being able to move, is controlled by proteins sliding up and down the strands of your muscles. When you flex your muscle, right, you've got all these like individual strands of, and I know it doesn't look like I'm flexing, but I am. So you've got all these like individual strands of muscles that are in there like spaghetti kind of laying on top of each other. And it's the proteins that slide up and down those pieces of spaghetti that make your muscle actually flex. That's what causes it. And when you work out to get bigger muscles, you've got a sheath around your spaghetti. And the sheath rips when you do your workout. So that's why they call it like getting ripped. That sheath rips. And then your body repairs it and makes it thicker so it's not going to rip next time. And that's what makes your muscles bigger. Is it keeps making that sheath thicker and thicker and thicker as long as you keep ripping it. Well, they do, but it's the sheath around them that gets stronger and stronger. And that's what adds the bulk to there. So as soon as you stop working out and stop tearing it, it starts like taking that apart and your muscles get smaller and smaller because it doesn't need it anymore. If that makes sense. So the more you work out, the more you tear it, the bigger it gets. The less you work out, the more it goes away. So you're either getting bigger or getting smaller. Yeah, there's no in between. You're either like using it or not. It's either getting bigger or not. So next one, and I think the last one we've got here is regulation of hormones. So as you guys know, you're in that great and probably the most not awkward time period in your life called puberty. I remember it well, and it was super awesome, just so you know. It gets way better from here on out. But it is the proteins in your body that regulate when those hormones are released. In different people, it happens at different times. I'll give you an example of a guy I worked with. His name was Jake Adams, and he was in high school, he was just like a little tiny guy. He was 5'7", 5'8". Even as a senior, he was like a little tiny guy, and we thought like, oh, this guy's just gonna be a little guy his whole life. Well, it turns out like the year he graduated high school, when he turned 18, his proteins released the hormones in his body, and the result is now that this guy that was like 5'8" or 5'9" in high school as a senior is now like 6'4" and 200 and some odd pounds. It all happened in like 1 year. From when he went to 18 to 19, he went from like 145 pounds to 200 and something pounds, just like that. So it's controlled by proteins that come out of you that make this stuff happen. And for different people, it happens at different times. It's all in your genetics. Yes, sir. Yeah, some people kick in early, like Barrett kind of kicked in last year, basically. So it's just kind of like it happens for different people at different times. Yeah. A lot of times girls tend to kick in early. Like they'll be the tallest girl forever in like elementary or middle school, and then like they just stop growing because they're done. And that's it. Yeah, you might be done. Okay. And that is the end of it for today. So, what do we got here? That's what I was talking about, yeah.